we see something from eyes and we hear some type of voices from the ears, so that the thing which we see is known as the stimuli, but eyes is known as the receptors and ear is the type of the receptor. Then the third component is the coordinator. These are the special type of organs which receives the information from the receptors and sent to the particular organ where the function is performed. This is known as the coordinator. In nervous coordination and chemical coordination, these coordinators are the difference. In nervous coordination, brain and spinal cords act as the coordinators, but in chemical coordination, endocrine glands act as the coordinators, and these endocrine glands receives message in the forms of the signals. And different types of nerves and neurons are present in the nervous coordination, which attach to the brain and gives message towards the brain and the spinal cord to perform the different types of tasks. So what is coordinator? These are the organs which receives message from the receptors and perform a particular, and it sends to the particular organ. And then effectors. Effectors are the parts which receives message from the coordinators, means message is transferred in the form of the receptors towards the coordinators and coordinators towards the effectors. The parts which receives message from coordinators is known as the effectors. Nervous coordination and in chemical coordination, receptors are also different parts. Coordinators in nervous coordination, brain and spinal cord act as the coordinators, and neurons and nerve cells act as the coordinator in the nervous coordination, and the hormones which is present in endocrine glands act as the effectors in the chemical coordination. So then the next part is the response, the next component. Effectors perform action is known as the response. Perform the message which transfer in the form of the neurons or hormones, and then at last it performs an basic task or function. The effectors perform this function, and this is known as the response. In nervous and chemical coordination, response may be the different types. In nervous coordination, immediate and the short living response is produced, but in chemical coordination, slow and the long living response is the produced. Students, see book Coordinated Action, Stimulus, Receptors, Coordinators, Effectors, and here last as the response. See this diagram. This diagram shows the nervous and the chemical coordination. The major difference between the nervous and chemical coordination is the coordinator and the effectors, because you know that coordinator, brain and the spinal cord act as the coordinators in nervous coordination, but in chemical coordinations, endocrine glands act as the coordinators, so that in receptors, in the nervous coordination, stimuli is in the form of the neurons or nerve impulses towards the response, but in chemical coordination, this stimulus is flowed out in the blood in the form of the chemicals and hormones, and then perform an action at the end. So in nervous chemical coordination, brain and spinal cord act as the coordinators, but in the endocrine glands act as the coordinators in the chemical coordination. This is the difference between the nervous and the chemical coordination, how the functions perform in the nervous and the chemical coordination. This diagram discuss this thing. So our next topic is the human nervous system. All of you know that nervous system, it is related about to our brain system, so or our spinal cord. Human nervous system in man and other types of the animals, higher animals, the nervous system consists of the two major parts or types: central nervous system CNS and peripheral nervous system PNS. All of you know that central nervous system, it is consists of the brain and in spinal cord in human beings and higher animals. But peripheral nervous system, it is consist of the nerves, and these nerves arises from the central nervous system. The nerves or neurons which are present in the peripheral nervous system, these nerves or neurons are originated from the brain and the spinal cord and gives message towards the whole body. So this is the function of the peripheral nervous system. The composition of the central nervous system is the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system is the neurons and the nerve cells. So inshallah we discuss detail of both of them in the next lecture. Today is about. Hope so all of you understand. Thank you class.